don't take drugs. I never have taken drugs. Are you going to?
No. Were you worried about being...
Never again. Never
Were you worried about being...
Here's every time that Paul McCartney got busted for weed and his hilarious responses to it. It all started in August 1972 when Wings were performing in an auditorium in Sweden. As the band tried to go back to the dressing room after the performance, they were blocked by armed police. Paul, his wife Linda McCartney and another member of Wings were arrested for possession of cannabis. Turns out it was all because they'd received a parcel in their hotel containing the weed. The weed was delivered in cassette tapes apparently, 7 ounces of it. All 3 of them admitted that it was theirs. They said it was for personal use, which the police believed. And in court they were given a fine each. Their fines totaled around £1,000 and the tour was allowed to continue. And after that incident, Macca stayed out of trouble for about 5 weeks, which was when his farm in Scotland got raided. That was in September 1972. The police took many plants away for chemical analysis, and in December that year they informed McCartney that he would stand trial for cultivating cannabis. But he did have a pretty good excuse. News reports from the Times said a fan's gift to the former Beatle Paul McCartney landed him in court yesterday for 5 plant seeds that came through the post. For those 5 cannabis plants, McCartney was fined in court £100. According to news reports at the time, his defence in court said that McCartney had, quote, an immense interest in horticulture. He has grown quite a few kinds of plants in his greenhouse. So he was fined £100 for growing weed, and there was 2 other charges for possession of cannabis which he pleaded not guilty to, and those not guilty pleas were accepted.
As he left the court, McCartney, who'd been given 2 weeks to pay the fine, said, "The judge is a great guy." McCartney's counsel admitted he had knowingly grown, but had not known what they were. The cannabis seeds had been planted at his farm about 4 miles from here. It was said that those seeds had been sent to you. How did you come to grow them?
Yeah, well, we got a load of seeds, you know, kind of in the post, and we didn't know what they were, you know. We kind of planted them all, and 5 of them came up illegal.
Now, of course, this conviction might affect your entry to the States, where you have considerable business interests there.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, I understand I might not get stopped from going into the States because it's a technical offence. I hope not, anyway.
The next bust was in 1975. That's when Paul and Linda were driving through LA in a '74 Lincoln Continental. McCartney reportedly ran a red light and was pulled over by the police, who claimed to smell cannabis. After a search, some cannabis was found, but because Linda wasn't driving, she took the fall and said the weed was hers. Paul got away without being arrested, and Linda was later cleared from the charges after she completed a 6-month drug diversion program. Things got a lot more serious in 2080 because Paul was busted at the airport in Japan with 218 grams, over 7 ounces of weed in his suitcase just amongst his clothes.
Former Beatle Paul McCartney was jailed without bail in Tokyo today after being arrested on charges of marijuana possession and smuggling. The 37-year-old rock star was arrested at Narita Airport after almost half a pound of marijuana was found in one of his suitcases. If found guilty, he could receive 7 years in prison. McCartney and his rock group Wings were to have given 11 performances in Japan, but the tour now has been canceled.
He was held initially in the Narcotics Control Office, and then he was moved to a Tokyo jail, a 4 by 8 foot cell, for some people say 9 days, some people say 10 days.
I got arrested in Tokyo for carrying marijuana. And we'd been told, whatever we did, don't take it into Japan. Very severe penalties. Turned out the penalty was 7 years hard labor. And we fully thought we weren't going to. That's fine, you know, we won't take it in. For some reason, and I still can't explain, I took some in, and rather a large amount. And the weirdest thing that I really don't get, you know, when you look back on parts of your life, you think, was I there? You know, that, because that is weird. I look back on that now, and I can see the guy opening my suitcase, and right on the top is this big bag of grass. you know, I didn't even put it in a sweater or put it high.
The tour he was on was immediately cancelled. That was 11 shows cancelled, and that apparently cost him, ironically, 420 grand. It was also said that he refused to go into a sort of segregated and wanted to be with everyone else. Eventually, instead of going to court, they just decided to deport him, and many people speculated that he was just too famous for them to go ahead with the court case.
I got out because of my celebrity. Yeah. And I was told, and I knew that there were guys who didn't get out.
Right.
It was quite an experience. And then they said, do you want a bath? It was bath day.
Right.
So do you want a bath? They said, now we know that you being Westerner will want a bath on your own. But we have communal baths, but you won't want to do that. And by then I said, oh yeah, come on, you know.
Yeah.
In for a pen, I'm going in with the boys.
Absolutely.
You know? So we all went in there, and it was funny, you know, being in a tub with all these Japanese guys.
And the Japanese authorities asked him to sign an affidavit as part of the conditions of his release, promising that he wouldn't smoke weed. But that was a lie, because 4 years later he got busted again, this time whilst on holiday in Barbados. That was in January 1984, and Paul was accused of buying some weed off a dealer on a beach. He escaped a 3-month jail sentence by paying a $200 Barbados dollar fine, but what made this incident hilarious was the post-arrest press conference.
Can we get one thing straight? That whatever you think and whatever you think I've done, this, I'm telling you, this substance, cannabis, is a whole lot less harmful than rum punch, whiskey, nicotine, and glue, all of which are perfectly legal. What about your children? What about your children? I would like
Paul?
to see it decriminalised, because I don't think, in the privacy of my own room, I was doing anyone any harm whatsoever.
Did you think they'd send you to drugs?
Are you?
I don't take drugs. I never have taken drugs. Are you going to?
No.
Were you worried about being
Never again. Never
Were you
again.
worried about being...
And on their way home from that holiday, Linda got busted again with weed. She was caught with 5 grams of weed, trying to take it back to the UK.
Linda McCartney, the wife of pop singer Paul McCartney, was arrested at Heathrow Airport this afternoon and charged with possessing cannabis. She'll appear in court later this month. Paul McCartney and his family had arrived back from Barbados, where he'd been fined £70 for possessing a small amount of cannabis. The millionaire singer, whose record Pipes of Peace today is still top of the pops, told reporters he thought cannabis was less harmful than nicotine and alcohol.
Linda McCartney was making light of matters when she arrived, but this was before customs searched her baggage. Paul McCartney came through the Green Channel to talk to reporters. At this stage, no one had been arrested. Paul's been in trouble with the law 4 times over drugs. With his international lifestyle, his latest conviction could create problems in travelling overseas.
Do you think it's going to give you a problem getting back into the United States? Where you
Well, I hope not. I jolly well hope not. Who shot you? Who shot you? I've no idea, gentlemen. I've no idea.
Did you have trouble getting through the customs here?
Was it good stuff?
Oh, no, get out of here. I love you all dearly. Goodbye.
The McCartneys then drove to their private plane. But back at the customs hall, their luggage was being examined. They were asked to return, interviewed and searched. Mrs. McCartney was charged 6 hours after their arrival and released on unconditional bail.
Even in his 80s, Macca gets photographed having the odd joint, but when you see him headlining Glastonbury at that age, it doesn't look like it's done him much harm.
Speaking